Hi class, so you have recorded the audio for your Project 3 animation. So we're going to go ahead and start working with this in Adobe Animate. So we'll bring in the music and we'll also start thumbnailing exactly what it is that we want to create in the end. So let's head on over there. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a new file. And I want to make sure this is 1920 by 1080 pixels and the frame rate is 12. Then I'll hit create. And I'm going to save this right away. So I'll go to File, Save As. And I am going to call this Swan Project 3 Demo. For you, of course, it is not a demo. And hit Save. All right, so right now I'm in the Essentials workspace. I've just moved the timeline up to the top. As long as you're comfortable with however you have your workspace set up, that's fine with me. So let's call this layer over here. Let's double click this and call it Music. And let's go to File, Import, Import to Stage. And we're going to pick our audio that we made earlier. Make sure it's a wave. Animate likes waves. And it's hard to see, but it's actually already come in here. It's this little orange line. So I'm going to zoom in. This is your audio. So to see the rest of it, we're going to go ahead and hit F5 and add all of the frames that we need to get the full length of our audio. I'm just holding F5 for this. All right, so now I'm going to delete these extra frames here just by removing them. Okay, so that's step one. I'm going to lock this so that I cannot change it. And I want to make sure I can hear it. So I have this set to stream, which is great. If you don't, click on the orange line and then go over here to Properties, go to Sync and change it from anything that's over here. It's probably on Event and change it to Stream. Okay, so I'm going to play this for you one time so you know the vibe I have going on. Okay, so what I was envisioning when I put this audio together was I was sitting in the building and I saw a bird poop on the awning of the building, and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be funny if the building would sort of stand up and shake that off? So that's what I want to animate. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new layer, and I'm going to call this Thumbnails. And I'm going to just make some thumbnails for myself, really casually of the story I want to tell. So if you want to get the aspect ratio exactly right, which is definitely wise, you can import the storyboard format or the storyboard page that I have for you on Canvas. I'm going to eyeball it and then just sort of adjust things later. You could also just make a new frame for every thumbnail. But for me, I'm just going to, draw one picture, then another, then another. I'll do that really quickly, and I'll come back with my finished thumbnails. So see you in a minute. Okay, so I have drawn out a few of my ideas here. I have them numbered. So in my first scene, I want to have a close-up of a bird's eye blinking. Then in the second scene, I want the bird to fly over the roof. Then a close cut of the poop sort of landing on the awning. The building will sort of open its eyes and look at the little bit of poop. Then it will start standing up. And then we'll sort of watch it stand up from this angle. It'll shake off, come back down, close its eyes, and wink. And that'll be the end. So this is all well and good, but I want to take each one of these little thumbnails and I want to set them to the correct timing. So we're going to do basically a super rough, like a timed storyboard essentially, which is also known as an animatic. So let us start with a new layer. So I'm going to call this layer Animatic Demo. Okay. And I am going to start with just copying this first frame I have here. Command C or Control C on a PC. Then I'm going to click back up to my animatic demo and I'm going to hit Control V. And I am going to transform this. So the best way to do this is to hit Q or hit your transform tool and then just grab the edge, and if you hit shift at the same time you'll keep your scale. Alright, so if it's sort of distracting to you to have the storyboard visible, you can always just turn that off. And now I'm going to sort of listen to my music here. So I want the blink to sort of end there. So I'll turn my storyboard back on and I'm going to grab my second scene. Zoom back in here. So Command plus to zoom in or Command minus to zoom out. And I'm going to hit Command C again. And now I'm going to go back up to my animatic layer and I'm going to put an empty frame here. So I'll hit F7 or you can use blank keyframe. I'll turn my storyboard off just so it's a little clearer what I'm doing. And I'm going to hit Command Shift V or Command V. And again, I'm just going to stretch this out so it's the right size. Okay, so I have all of the thumbnails from my storyboard lined up and timed to the music, but there's a few more little pieces I need to do, so I'll go ahead and show you. Alright, so what I'm missing here, I think this shaking off section needs to be lengthened. A bird is going to be flying over the house here, and the eyes of the house are going to track the bird. And then in this scene over here, a bird will be flying over the house and pooping. So I could just do this frame by frame, just draw a bird in sort of every frame that I want a bird, but there's a better way. So just as we did the horse running walk cycle or run cycle, we can do a flight cycle for birds. So that way I can use the same bird to fly over this house here and to fly over the house here. So how am I going to do this? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a symbol. So I'm going to go to Insert, New Symbol. I want this to be a graphic symbol, and I want it to show up in my library. So I'm going to call this Bird Demo, and I'm going to hit OK. And this takes me over to a symbol workspace. So it looks a lot like the timeline, but it's not the project timeline. To get back to your project, you'll just need to click this back arrow here. And you can get back to your symbol just by double clicking over here in the library on that symbol. Now the great thing about this is I can work on my bird walk cycle, fly cycle over here without disturbing my animation, and then bring it over as a completed little nested animation afterwards. So to help me with this, I'm just going to pull this flight pattern JPEG I found on the internet, Let me back out a little bit here. All right. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm going to make a new layer. And I am going to sort of make a little box that's turning away from me with the tail here as well. Boop, boop, boop. That all done, I think I will start stacking these on top of each other. So I'm just going to put them all sort of on this target line. There we go. I'm just lining up the anchor point with this little X here. So when I have my transform tool selected, I can hover, and when this cross here appears, that means I can move it. And I'm just lining up my central anchor point. So I'm going to turn this layer off and my onion skins off, and let's play it. All right. That does look like a flight path there. So I'm also going to add a loop, and let's see how it plays overall. That's pretty good. All right, so let's go back to our main project now. So I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to call this layer demo bird. So I'll double click on it. Demo bird, or bird demo. And I'm going to drop that symbol on that layer. All right. Let's lock everything but our bird layer. And move it. Okay, so I'm moving this off the screen, and now I'm going to do something that's called classic tweening. So I'm going to scroll until this scene ends, which is here. I'm going to trim this here by adding a blank keyframe to the frame right after. And then I'm going to click on my bird layer, and I'm going to say create classic tween. So you see this made this sort of purple bar here. And if I scroll to the very end of this purple bar and move my bird over up past the screen where I want it, you'll see that this arrow now appears. So let's see what that looks like. So you can see that it will move your object, move your symbol in a straight line. Now let's say like that's pretty good, but I was sort of hoping for it to get smaller and sort of look like it was going this way. No problem. I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to say convert to frame by frame animation, keyframe each frame. So now I have a bird in every single one of these frames that I can move however I want. I can reshape however I want. So I'm going to start making this a little bit smaller as it leaves the frame. And I should onion skin this so I know what I'm doing here. Remember, you can hold shift to make things bigger or smaller. I'm going to make the ones at the very front a little bit bigger. So maybe this one, oops, doesn't need to be quite that big. Oop. Okay, turn my onion skin off. Let's see how that looks. Pretty good. Now I'm going to go to that other spot that I wanted a bird in. This spot here. And I think it might be a little bit too much time, so I'm actually going to make a new layer here and call this bird, bird demo 2. And I am going to drop that bird layer in here again, or bird symbol in here again. And this time I'm going to hit Q and I'm going to flip it around and shrink it. So I think this is about the right size. I'm going to scooch my symbol off. So this thing here in the middle is the anchor point. Where you move it is what you rotate around. But I'm not rotating my bird right now, so it's kind of irrelevant. All right, and then I'm going to have it fly across maybe to here. So I'll put another blank keyframe here. And I'm going to say create classic tween. Scroll to the end. Move my bird over again. And I am going to convert this to a frame-by-frame animation again, but I'm going to keyframe every other frame, just so it's a little bit less overwhelming. And let's see. I think it needs to be keyframed on every frame. Let's do keyframe each frame. Yeah, that's much better. All right, so I'm going to just change. I'm going to turn my onion skin on, and I'm going to just sort of make this a little more pleasant of an arc. So I'll just move these up a little bit. Okay. So I have added my bird in here with symbols. So now I have a pretty rough animatic that I can use to, it has all of the timing that I need for my animation. I'm gonna now create a layer above my animatic and start really smoothing this out, really trying to refine my line work. So I have something good to color in the final stage. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.